Okay, welcome back. This is the last section of this chapter, chapter 9, and it's all about solving all quadratic formulas or all quadratic equations. You learned how to solve quadratic equations by graphing, you learned how to do the square root, and you learned how to factoring. And those are all fine and dandy, but the thing is that the one with the graphing, you gotta have a graphing calculator. Square root only works if you don't have a b term. Okay, um, factoring only works some of the time. What I'm going to introduce today is something called the quadratic formula. This works all of the time. Okay, so the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Most people call this green eggs and ham. If you ever read the story about green eggs and ham, you did want to try it, Sam I am, but this looks way harder than what it is. All you got to do is plug in the values of A, B, and C, and then you got it. Okay, so it's very, very important that you memorize or try to know the quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So every problem that you're going to have involving the quadratic formula, I'm going to look for you to actually write it out. Okay, so let's take a look. The first problem. What are the solutions of x squared minus 8 equals 2x? Use the quadratic formula. Well, the first thing is it equal to 0? No, it is not. So I have to actually bring that 2x over by subtraction. So now I have this, okay? Then I label my a, my b, and my c. So my a is 1, my b is negative 2, and my c is negative 8. And to get the quadratic formula, I go x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then I just input these numbers. So negative b or opposite b, so that's 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 8. And this is all over 2 times 1. So when you go through this, you get 2 plus and minus the square root of, that's 4. And then 4 times 8 is 32. So 4 plus 32, and that's all over 2. Okay? And then I do 2 plus and minus the square root of 36, and that's all over 2. Well, what's the square root of 36? The square root of 36 is 6. So it's 2 plus and minus 6 over 2. Now it looks a little weird, but if you think of it this way, what's 2 plus 6? That's 8. So my answers are 8 over 2, which is 4, and 2 minus 6, which is negative 4 over 2, and then that's negative 2. So what you found are your two solutions, 4 and negative 2. I know it seems a little bit crazy, but that's how it works. Okay. Um, Please pause the video, try to do the got it, and if you got it, let's move on. Now, life isn't always that nice, and you're going to look at another problem where you can use the quadratic formula. So it says in the shot put, an athlete throws a heavy metal ball through the air. The arc of the ball can be modeled by the equation y equals negative 0.04x squared plus 0.84x plus 2, where x is the horizontal distance in meter from the athlete and y is the height in meter of the ball. How far from the athlete will the ball land? Now, if you think about this equation, this graph is going to look something like this. Right? So we want to figure out this spot right here and this spot right here, but we don't really care. We care about that second one. So what we can do is we can actually use the quadratic formula. A is negative 0.04, B is 0.84, and C is 2. So when you do this, you do the quadratic formula. You say x is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. And this is all over 2a. And when you plug this in, now you plug it in, it's negative 0.84 plus and minus the square root of 0.84 squared minus 4 times negative 0.04 c, which is 2, and that's all over 2 times negative 0.04. Okay, now the hard part about this is plugging it into your calculator. I'm going to demonstrate how to do that with the graphing calculator right now. Okay, so to do this the right way, I got to use my calculator here. Okay, and so to do this, I'm going to go little negative 0.84, and I'm going to go plus the square root of 0.84 squared minus 4 times negative 0.04 times 2. I'm going to get this answer. I get that. And then I'm going to divide it by, in the denominator, 2 times negative 0.04. All right. And the first answer I get is this x is negative, what was it? Negative 2.15. But we don't want that one. Now, if I go back here and I do this again, I'm going to go ahead and do negative 0.84 minus the square root of 0.84 squared minus 4 times negative 0.04 times 2. I'm going to get this answer. And then I'm going to divide that by, parentheses, 2 times negative 0.04. And then this should get me what I want. And that gets me x is 23.15. The other x is 23.15. So the shot put would land 23.15 feet from where it took off. I know it sounds crazy. I know it looks a little uncomfortable, but really all it is plugging values into the quadratic equation, the quadratic formula, a, b, and c, and being pretty crafty with your calculator. All right. But now another thing about the quadratic formula is there's a part of it, that b squared minus 4ac. That b squared minus 4ac is called the discriminant. And this little picture right here describes everything you need to know. When you run the b squared minus 4ac, that part of the quadratic formula, if you get a positive answer, that's going to tell you that you're going to have two possible solutions. And what do they look like on the curve? It's 2x intercepts, right? So there's two real solutions. If you run the b squared minus 4ac and you get it equal to 0, that means that you only have one real solution, and it's like a bouncing, like right here, it's a bouncing off the x-axis, so there's only one real solution. If you run b squared minus 4ac and you get a negative number, okay, then you have no real solutions. You look right here, this quadratic, this guy right here does not come in contact with the x-axis, okay? So this is 99% of the time you're not going to mess with this, but it does help because they'll ask how many real solutions does it have, and you just run b squared minus 4ac. Here's an example. How many real solutions does this have? Well, it does not equal 0 yet, so I'm going to bring that over. So 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 equals 0. And I'm going to label my A, I'm going to label my B, and I'm going to label my C. Okay, so that's 2, negative 3, and 5. And when it asks how many real number solutions, I just have to run b squared minus 4ac. So if I run b squared minus 4ac, it's negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5. Okay, so that's 9 minus 4 times 5 is 20, and double that's 40. So 9 minus 40 is negative 36. That's a negative number, so we have no real solutions. Okay, no real solutions. Make sense? Okay, what you should do is pause the video, run the discriminant for that got it, and then when you look at it, ask yourself, do I understand the quadratic formula? Well, I do, so I'm going to check it. Do I know what the discriminant is? Well, I do, I'm going to check it. And if I had to rate myself on how to do the quadratic formula, I'm going to give myself a 10. Actually, I'm going to give myself 11. All right, so this is the end of all the videos that we have for this chapter. Please go back, look at it, pause it, write any questions down. I look forward to seeing you in class tomorrow, and may the force be with you.